So this is one of my properties, and it used to be a cannabis factory.
So you're doing the same thing again, because if it works once, it can work 20 times.
So cash flow on this property brings us in roughly about £22,000 in profit each year. There's deals everywhere.
So this is another secret to how you can build a substantial portfolio without needing to use any of your own money. Hi, I'm Nick Claydon.
And I'm Rick Blaney.
And welcome to the Property Wealth Systems YouTube channel. What we're going to be doing in this video is taking you on a tour around our individual property portfolios in the Merseyside area.
Both Nick and I have been in property for over 20 years, and one thing I've learned and understood is diversification. That's having a broad portfolio. So what that's led me to do is to go through the full range, from doing buy-to-lets, from having HMOs, from having multi-lets, from trading properties to going to serviced accommodation and even a hotel.
I started just with very simple buy-to-let houses, just simple family homes, but scaling those up quickly. So going from doing one deal a year when I first started to getting to the point of doing a deal every single month for about 2 years. That really gave me then the confidence to start moving up the levels, moving into HMOs, moving all the way up into commercial and the hotel sectors where I operate now.
Before Nick and I take you on a tour of our property portfolio, make sure
you like,
subscribe
and hit the notification bell.
So before property, my corporate career was working in recruitment. I was 5 years living overseas. And then on my return, recruiting accountants and finance in the middle of a global recession when I came back in 2009 was a bit of a tough time. I actually worked for somebody else. And it's at that point in my career, I'd been climbing the corporate career, getting on for 15 years, getting promoted, every couple of years. It was a really good thing while it lasted, but actually it's a young man's game. And when I approached my mid-30s, I realised that I didn't actually really want to do it anymore. I didn't enjoy working for somebody else. I didn't enjoy what I did. I think anyone who would know that looks at different ways of investing, there's only really the stock market or property or Bitcoin. I love the fact that property's been around for a long time, as long as people have needed to live in houses. And the reason I like Liverpool was because you can do lots and lots of different strategies in and around here. So buy-to-lets, conversions, HMOs, multi-lets. You can do trading of property, renovating, selling for profit. So every strategy that you want can be done in and around, Merseyside and surrounds. So this project behind me was purchased in 2017. I think I offered on this property 9 times over a course of about a 7 or 8 month period. We eventually got into a negotiation and bought this directly through auction, but after the auction had finished. So when we purchased this property, it was quite interesting. It was being advertised as an HMO and some flats, and actually all the particulars in there were actually incorrect. What we did have in there was a cannabis factory. So one of the bonuses of having big high ceilings and a loft, it does mean that it does create opportunity for us to turn those into livable space. It also does create the opportunity for some more unscrupulous folk to perhaps turn that into a cannabis factory, which is what we had here. Nothing too major, just on a small scale. Did leave some of the paraphernalia there for us, which we cleared out, but don't be put off by that. That's just an opportunity. Where we really created extra value was turning what was the cannabis factory into a 4-bedroom multi-let. So we bought this property for £200,000 after auction. Didn't make it as a reserve, so we were able to buy it afterwards. We spent on it around £95,000 and it refinanced at £450,000. Given the way that the market's going around here, I would fancy that it'd be worth a little bit more than that now, probably close to 500,000. So cash flow on this property, so we've got 5 2-bedroom flats and a 4-bedroom HMO, brings us in roughly about £22,000 in profit each year. So property like this is all about creating value. The key thing to unlocking the value here was seeing the opportunity was in the loft space. That's why as professional investors, we don't look at new builds. We're not looking at buying off plan. We're looking at old stuff that's been in existence, terraced houses. How can we add value? How can we change it? How can we do it better? When we looked at this project, there was lots of people showing interest, but they quickly ran out of ideas of how they could unlock the value, and that's how a professional investor looks at it, unlocking the potential. If you just look down this typical street of terraced houses, there's deals everywhere. We can turn these properties into better standard buy-to-lets. We can look at renovating these properties to sell, and we can also turn them into licensed HMOs. There's such a vast opportunity. So if we look behind us, we don't actually see any for sale signs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that these houses aren't for sale. One strategy that I employ is going direct to vendor. So when we're working in an area like this, I'll make sure that my builder is talking to the neighbours and asking, do they know anybody that might be looking to sell a property? I'd also look at dropping my business card into areas like this to say, look, I am interested in buying properties. So we're now, another one of my properties, something that's really important that we teach is, you know, once you find an area that works for you, repeat the process. So when we bought this property, it was actually a repossession. When we looked at the property, we thought, yeah, great opportunity. We turned this property into a 6-bedroom HMO. We've actually got 4 en suites and 2 bedrooms that are sharing bathroom facilities. This particular property has been a great performer. As soon as a room comes available, you know, we get it advertised and it gets rented really quickly.
I've been in property 10 years. I did kind of dabble in it a little bit before then, but then before I got serious about it. Learned lots of things over the years. One of the key messages for me really is to understand a clear strategy. So know what it is you're trying to do rather than just kind of randomly go out looking for a deal. So one of the key mistakes I see that new investors make is to not understand how the numbers work. So they end up kind of overpaying, overspending, not having a firm grip on their numbers, making mistakes that could ultimately, you know, cost them a lot of money. So it's not just about going out there and buying a house, it's about understanding how property can provide you long-term wealth generation, income generation, the whole mindset around wealth and how to create it and hold on to it and how to maybe pass it down through having the right structures in place. It's a holistic approach that I take, really. It's not just teaching people how to go and buy a house, it's teaching them why they should be into property investing, how to do it safely and securely, and how to build long-term wealth.
What's my favourite thing about Nick? Nick's been a good friend of mine for many years. He's very loyal, but also as a friend, you know, tells me, you know, when I need to hear the truth.
What's your favourite thing about Rick?
His hair at the moment. Yeah, I love his enthusiasm. He's a really great person to have around. You know, he's a can-do kind of guy, gets stuck in, you know, great mindset, gets things done.
What's your least favourite thing about Nick?
Do you know what, Nick and I have never had a row. The one thing that annoys me about Nick is generally late to stuff. You know, he does kind of just, you know, meander around and take his time. You know, he's not always the most punctual.
Worst thing about Rick, quite impulsive probably.
Do you know what he said about your worst trait?
My worst trait, probably being miserable.
He says you're always late.
What? Yeah, whatever, Rick.
Oh, I see what, he's always late. He is always late, actually.
Apart from this morning when I was late, that's because he changed the time. He is always late. I'm always having to chase him up, see where he is and what he's doing. It's just started to snow, so in the middle of a snow shower. But let's have a look at some of my properties. These 3 properties you can see behind me, the ones all painted grey with the black doors. These are 6-bedroom HMOs, primarily aimed at the student market. One of the houses is let to postgraduates and one is let to nurses. So about a 15-minute walk that way, we have the University of Liverpool, and right next door to it is the Royal Liverpool University Hospital. So the reason I particularly picked this area was for those 2 factors, that we do have the ability to let to students or to nurses or doctors working at the hospital. Now these houses you can see look like pretty much standard buy-to-let, but if you look a bit closer you can see we've done loft conversions in these properties and turned them into 6 bedrooms. Some of these houses would work just as straightforward buy-to-let renters. For me, in this area, it's really about maximising the potential from property, and that's why I've done 6-bedroom HMOs here. So these properties are all bought individually. They were purchased between about £75,000 to £85,000, with about £80,000 to £85,000 spent. Now that sounds a lot, but what we're doing there is completely ripping out the house, all the internal structures, and rebuilding it as a fit for purpose 6-bedroom, 3-shower room student HMO. Gross rent on these is around £2,000, £2,500 a month, around £90 a week per room, and the net cash flow after all costs comes out around £1,200 a month. The next one is literally about 50 metres that way. Okay, so here's the next one. So this one is again exactly the same. It's a 6-bedroom, 3-shower room HMO. This one's actually let to student nurses at the hospital just around the corner. Exactly the same model. If you went into one of those houses over there and you went into this one, once you're inside, the layout's exactly the same. They're just a carbon copy of each other. And this is what we talk about when we talk about a cookie cutter model and repeating that process, just doing the same thing again, again, again. Because if it works once, it can work 20 times. Okay, so as you can see, behind me is quite a distressed property. And this is one that I've actually got my eye on. So this really demonstrates the adding value and creating value within a property. So this property, I'll be looking to maybe pick that up, probably pick that up in the £60,000, £70,000 range. Next door was an identical property. That's now a 6-bedroom, and that's going to value up at around £200,000 to £220,000. So that's the difference you can create by adding value and changing your strategy. So some of you may be thinking, well, I just don't have the money to invest in properties like this. Well, I didn't either when I started. This is all about using other people's money. So I particularly like working with angel investors. They can fund my deals. I give them a very good return on their money, and then we just recycle into the next and the next and the next deal. At the moment, the banks are paying pretty much 0 interest, so they can work with me. I can provide them great returns of 6, 7, 8%, which is far higher than they're going to get leaving the money in a bank. They don't want to come in and do the jobs that I'm doing. They don't want to go and buy and renovate houses. They just want to make a good return off their money. So there's lots of people out there that are happy to invest in projects such as this, but you have to be able to show them how that money goes into a deal, how it comes back out, so that you can just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and they are safe in the knowledge that their money's working hard, but they can get it back. So now we're off to Southport. Myself and Rick both have hotels in Southport. Let's go and have a look at them. So here we are at my 11-bed hotel right in the middle of Southport. So let's go and have a look inside. I bought this hotel because I wanted to increase my income more quickly and more efficiently. Buy-to-lets are great, they get you started, but I was looking to move up the scale and do bigger things. So I moved into HMOs, and I equate one HMO to being around 5 good buy-to-lets, and this hotel equals about 5 HMOs in one. So that's why I was looking to do this. It's a quicker way of scaling up my income. Purchase price on this one was £340,000, and that's for this whole building of the hotel with the additional flat at the rear of the building. Renovation cost came in around £140,000. We're looking to refinance this based on a pure commercial basis. So based on the hotel operating as a smart hotel with a flat operating as a serviced accommodation unit, we're expecting a valuation in the region of around £700,000 for this one. So overall, this is a deal I'm absolutely delighted about. So one of the key features of this hotel is the fact it's what we call a smart hotel, which means that guests can check in just using their mobile phone. They don't need a key. They don't need somebody here on reception to let them in, which keeps our costs down, and this is how it works. The traditional B&B model is pretty basic, really. We wanted to do something very, very different and make sure that we fill our rooms and bring guests in at a higher level.
We've just left Nick's, which is about a quarter of a mile down the road there, and we're here now at my establishment, which is the Stamford Southport. Here at the Stamford, we've got 11 rooms, all en suite, and out the back we've got a self-contained apartment which was previously the owner's residence, so we've turned that into lettable rooms. So let's go upstairs and I can show you some of the rooms. Have some fun with your interior design. You know, we've gone for really big, bold prints. The flamingo room, you know, really stands out when people come in. Again, hard to imagine this room as it was previously. It was very brown, very magnolia, very tired and old. Even this furniture, this actually came with the property. Rather than go and have that extra expenditure of getting brand new furniture, all we've done is colour match it where we can. So still on the first floor, we're here into room 5, which is at the front of the property. And again, you can see that we've gone for, you know, nice and bright, lovely big bay windows that really pop in the sunlight. I love this room. It's probably my favourite in the whole property. Back at another one of my HMOs, we're very close to city centre of Liverpool. This particular property behind me is actually a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom. Again, repeating a cookie cutter approach to investment and basically doing the same repeat model of HMO conversions. How this property actually came about was being advertised by an agent that we'd already bought a property through. The day it came on the market I saw, and it was actually being sold through probate. I rang up the agent and that day I said, can I organise a viewing? I actually lived at the time about 3 hours down the motorway, so I organised for my power team. My builder was in here on the Friday after work because we were working on a project just around the corner. He went in and viewed, and during the viewing I got him to say some pretty disparaging remarks about the property, saying, listen, this is in really bad condition, this is a terrible property, I'm not sure this is something that we want to go with. And then he called me out from the van and said, this is perfect, it's exactly what we're looking for, it's just like the project that we're doing around the corner. So we made an offer that day and it was off the market within 48 hours without me ever viewing it. I didn't view this property until I picked up the keys because I trusted my builder. I'm not a builder. I surround myself with professionals who know what they're doing, and they told me this is a good deal. Secured for £55,000. It was actually the asking price, but there was already a significant discount on that. And one of the things we decided to do with this property was actually convert it to a 5-bedroom, so not go up into the loft and do a full dormer extension. It meant that we could get the project done much quicker. We spent £60,000 on the refurb, so again that was ripping it back to bare brick again, but we refinanced this one for £175,000. By refinancing for £175,000, we can recycle our money out of the deal and then go and buy other properties. And that's the beauty of how you make this system work.
This property here, I'm not going to go in this one because it is tenanted. A charity looking to house vulnerable adults. So I was quite happy to let that one go. They want to sign it over on a 5-year contract. Absolutely no maintenance, no hassle, no letting agent involved at all. Still cash flows really nicely and I don't have to worry about it for 5 years. Yeah, this is one of my favourite ones. Okay, so here we have another 6-bed, 3-shower room HMO. As you can see, it's done up to a nice standard. This one was bought back in 2017 and it was a bit of a wreck. This one actually had some structural issues that we had to fix. So again, something that could put off the amateur investors. Going to be rented this year at £2,500 a month, giving me a nice cash flow of around £1,250 per month. And this is one that's actually in between tenancies, so we can actually get inside this one and have a look around. Actually, Rick's going to come and join us. Here he is.
Hi, Nick.
Let's go and have a look inside. This is going to be a tour of one of my 6-bedroom, 3-shower room HMOs. So it'll give you an idea about what we do to these houses to create that cookie cutter model where we do the same thing each time. But it'll give you an idea and a bit of an insight into some of the design tricks and tips that we use. So here we are in the communal area, which is a lounge, kitchen, diner. So this has been completely reconfigured from the original space. This originally was a separate room.
And this type of layout is typical of all these Victorian terraces. Bedroom 1 is at the front of the property, and then we have a shared area here with kitchen at the back, and it really just depends on the scope and size and the width of the property as to what you can get in.
So one of the tips that I would give you if you're looking at properties like this is to try and open out some of this space a little bit. This originally was a wall coming right across here to a doorway, so it's quite dark space. So here what we've done is put a steel beam across there, opened that wall out and created this really nice kind of open plan kitchen diner.
So we're now up on the first floor, and this is where a lot of the major reconfiguration happens.
First thing we did was take out all the original stone walls and then completely remodel it with good quality, high quality stud walling in here. So what you'll often find in Victorian terraced houses is you get kind of a big room at the front of the property, you get a little room at the back and kind of medium sized room in the middle. Now that, when it comes to letting out rooms, is not ideal. So what we like to do is to even out the rooms, make them all of a uniform size, and that means reconfiguring the space.
That's really important when you're looking at your student market. You know, when I was a student, there was always someone that got, you know, the short straw and ended up with a really boxy room, and there was an argument about that. When you come into one of these properties, everyone just says, I want the one with the red door, I want the one with the purple door. They're all exactly the same, you know, looking at the same sort of square meterage. What have you got in here, Nick? 10.5, 11 square meters per room?
Yeah, they're about 10 and a half square meters per room.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly the same. So again, it's all about a cookie cutter approach. Doesn't matter whether we look in this particular property or any number of the ones that we've shown you during the course of these videos, they're all exactly the same.
So what we're seeing here is an example of how to do a loft conversion in a property like this. So what we're originally standing in was the original master bedroom here. But we've created this corridor that extends through it, and then we've taken this space here to put a return that goes back up into the loft area here. But here you can see that's where the original master bedroom window would have been. Here we are on the top floor. So this is the loft room where we have 2 bedrooms and another shower room here. So that's the 3rd shower room. So a little top tip here for me is, you know, think about when you're mapping out your rooms using that space. So here we've just created a nice little built-in wardrobe. This actually tucks in behind the shower. So the shower is the other side of that wall. On the bathroom, so it's just absolutely maximizing every single square inch of space in the house. And what that does, it means you don't need to clutter up the floor space with freestanding wardrobes, which would be a bit tight in this room. So by creating that space off the back of the shower, you've created your wardrobe space and kept the floor space free.
So as Nick's just explained, here I am in the shower room, and behind this space here is that little space that he was talking about in terms of the storage in room 6. So as Nick explained, really important to maximise every last square inch of space. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Some of the key learnings to take away are to remember, always lock in value at the start of the deal.
Also remember that the properties have to cash flow, so make sure you work on your numbers. Property is a numbers game, both in terms of getting your numbers right and also doing the numbers, as in repeat to scale up your business.
Remember to follow a cookie cutter approach, doing the same strategy over and over again.
Because if it works once, it can work 20 times. So you've seen just a selection of the properties that we own in this area. Remember, property is a long-term game. It's not get rich quick, it's build wealth over time.
You need to get a system and process. You need to get educated. You need to have the right people around you, the people that you can rely on. So it's really important that you can't sit behind your computer screen waiting for deals to fly through the window. That's not going to happen. You need to get out there, get your boots on the ground and start finding those deals. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to stay educated on all things property, make sure that you
Like,
subscribe
and click the notification bell. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Nick Claydon.
I'm Rick Blaney. Remember, get out there, take action
and make it happen.